Let's take a closer look at the vaccine announcement in Great Britain today. Paul Waldie is the Europe correspondent for the Globe and Mail, and he joins me from just outside London this evening. Paul Waldie, first of all, thanks for joining me. It's good to talk to you.
Sure.
Look, a lot of people in this country want to know how the UK approval system managed to greenlight this vaccine so quickly, while Health Canada in this country still reviewing the same data the British have reviewed. What can you tell us about the British process?
Well, the process here was faster than normal. And earlier today, during a press conference, the MHRA, which is the drug regulator, was at pains to say that the fast process didn't mean safety had been put at risk or compromised. What they did was a rolling review system. So they were actually analyzing data from Pfizer and BioNTech as its trials were going on. So one trial could carry on. One trial could finish, and another one could start almost at the same time. So it was a much faster review process. So they have been coming under a little bit of fire for the speed of this whole process, but they are insisting that no corners were cut and nothing was done that wasn't, that would compromise safety.
I mean, that's the same process that's underway at Health Canada. They're getting this data in real time. As other countries are getting as well, to be able to review it. So, I mean, how many doses will Great Britain receive, and how quickly will people in Great Britain get this vaccine? Has that been decided?
Yes, Britain's ordered 40 million doses. So this is a 2-dose vaccine. So that's 20 million people. The first 800,000 doses are expected to arrive here from Pfizer's plant in Belgium as early as this weekend. The government hopes to start inoculating healthcare workers, hospital staff in particular, as early as Tuesday, and then roll it out to the larger population, starting with care homes and then elderly people. So they're hoping to get this done over the next many months, but they're going to start in hospitals first.
All right, so Great Britain is clearly a couple of steps ahead of Canada here. In this country, the vaccine debate's been very polarizing, and this news out of the UK only amplifies allegations that the Canadian government has been slow to get the vaccines and approve the vaccines. What's the vaccine debate been like in Great Britain?
Well, the debate hasn't been so much about the vaccine here, because keep in mind, there is a vaccine, sort of a national program underway through Oxford University. Oxford has partnered with AstraZeneca. So the government is actually putting a lot more faith in that vaccine than it is in the Pfizer one or the Moderna one. In fact, that vaccine, the Oxford one, can be produced much more quickly at a lower cost, and it's easier to transport than the Moderna or Pfizer one, which require these super cold refrigeration processes. So the government is banking a lot on the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. The debate here has been more around lockdown measures, social movement restrictions. England has just come out of a lockdown, the second lockdown today, in fact, and we're going back into a tiered system that's going to be tougher than the tiered system before the lockdown. And Boris Johnson has come under a lot of criticism from his own backbenchers about the new tiered system. In fact, last night, when the government put the new measures to a vote, 56 Conservative MPs voted against it. The opposition abstained, but had they not abstained and voted with the rebels, it would have been enough to scupper the plan. So Boris Johnson is facing quite a revolt within his own caucus, and some agitation across the country that England and the rest of the UK are still in some pretty tight restrictions.
Yeah. So what sort of how is this being viewed then as that conversation continues and sort of lockdowns begin to be? Is this viewed as sort of the magic bullet that it's all okay now in Great Britain?
Well, I think that's part of the concern on the government's part. Yes, they're happy that maybe this has deflected attention away from the controversy over the lockdown measures and the tiered system. However, Boris Johnson was quick to say, yes, okay, the vaccine is coming, but it is going to take many, many months, and we can't let up on the restrictions. So he's trying to play both sides here, being very congratulatory and very pleased with the fact that the vaccine has been approved, but also trying to insist that we can't let up, the country can't let up on the restrictions as well.
The Pfizer vaccine requires this ultra cold storage, and Canada's preparing for that, and it presents some distribution challenges as well in a country, look, 40 times larger than Great Britain and with a decentralized healthcare system such as we have in this country. But did the British have a plan in place well in advance for storage and distribution, and has it been well communicated? That's the big conversation in this country. No matter what date we get the vaccine, what is the plan to roll it out across the country? Did the Brits have a good plan in place even before they knew the vaccine was coming?
They've actually been working on a plan for quite a while, in fairness to the government, mainly because the AstraZeneca and Oxford vaccine has been such a big priority for the government here. They've been talking a lot about a rollout program. They want to start with hospitals because they can handle the refrigeration process, then move to care homes, then move to different age groups. They've been very specific about which age groups and how, using sports stadiums, doctors' offices, kind of the way the flu vaccine is handled right now at present. So, however, as you mentioned, there are logistical issues with this Pfizer vaccine. It does have to be stored initially in very cold temperatures. It can only be kept in a normal refrigerator for about 5 days. And if you take it out of that refrigerator, it's going to have to be used within 6 hours. So if you're trying to move it around, it's very tricky. It doesn't have a long shelf life outside of refrigeration. So it is a little more complicated to use. That's one reason why the government is banking more on the Oxford vaccine, because it can be stored in the refrigerator all the time. It doesn't require super cold temperatures.
Right. But is the overall sense there that the British government had planned for this day and this moment, and that it's ready to roll this out to people, or that it's been caught off guard and not prepared?
Well, I mean, I think, yes, they've been prepared on paper, but this government has a history of preparing on paper, and then when it comes to implementing it, not going so well. So I would say I'd be cautious about saying how well this is going to work in terms of a rollout. But yes, they have been prepared, and they do have, as you mentioned, it's a national system here, more or less. The NHS
Right.
England is the largest. Obviously, there's one in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland as well. However, given the size of England and that it is one national health service, they do have an advantage in that respect over Canada because it is centralized. They do have regions. They can go with these hospital hubs that they're talking about. So on paper, it should be a fairly straightforward rollout, but we'll wait and see how it actually works in practice.
All right. Globe and Mail's Paul Waldie. Paul, always good to talk to you. Thanks for your time tonight.
Okay.